should we introduce ourselves?
We don't have a name for this podcast.
Fuck.
We'll find that out later.
All right. Name to be decided podcast.
Hello, I'm Cameron Balmer, president and founder of UHCL ESports.
And I am Angel Garcia, a.k.a. Leo, a.k.a. Hefty Beef. You
just eventually towards the end of the season or something, we're dropping like 13 handles.
I got my in-game name, my personal name, my Twitter handle, my Instagram name, links to my Facebook. Welcome to the first edition of the We Don't Know What to Call It podcast.
This is the podcast that we're going to be running. We don't know exactly if it'll be weekly or bi-weekly for UHCL ESports. We'll find that out eventually, depending on how, tedious this ends up getting. But it shouldn't be too hard to just talk about video games all the time.
Yeah.
It's essentially in our job description.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, UHCL ESports is an esports club that handles competitive and casual gaming on the campus of University of Houston Clear Lake. So we have, smaller events that are catered to more casual audiences, and we actually have teams that actually go out and compete and make it to playoffs and that are actually good.
Mm-hmm.
So
a small sample of what we have is we currently have an Overwatch team that's coming together. We have a Rainbow Six Siege team that is actively scrimming. We had a Hearthstone team last semester. In reference to what Leo was saying, we had them reach playoffs in the TESPA tournament that they were participating in. And we were trying to put together a Heroes of the Storm team, because guess what? That game's not dead, according to TESPA.
Yes, according to TESPA, Heroes of the Dorm is coming back for collegiate play. So if there are other universities that are interested in possibly having a Heroes of the Dorm team, now's your chance, because signups end at the end of the month, I believe.
Yes.
I believe it ends February 27th. Yes.
Here, I can find that. I can find that date right now.
Okay.
It's actually in the... Yep, February 27th.
Yeah, February 27th is the last day to register, so for anybody else that's in a college or university that's hoping to put together a team, now is their chance to do it, because you only have 2 more weeks to do it. So please go out, make your teams, and grow this really, really great gaming community.
All right, so for this first edition of the podcast, we kind of wanted to get sort of introductions out of the way to where we can introduce everyone into the club, what we do. The 2 main hosts of the podcast, me and Leo, and we like to get people sort of acquainted with like a little bit of the history of the club. Am I sitting on the broken chair? I fucking am. This chair's been a plague of this lobby forever.
Cameron, are we allowed to drop F-bombs?
I don't care. We can bleep it. That's just more editing for me. I'll drop as many F-bombs as I want.
All right. Well, as for history of the UHCL Esports Club, currently we have over 200 members currently active, and but all that started with a little event that shouldn't have happened in the first place. Cameron, you want to...
Yeah, so I was coming in for my first semester at UHCL. I was transferring from San Jac Central, and I had been planning on starting an esports club over at San Jac Central, and I had everything ready to go. It was only a case of finding I believe their requirements were you need to have 5 of your actual officers, and then you had to have 5 people interested in your club.
Yeah.
So that's what I was stuck on, because I didn't really know too many people at San Jac, because it was a commuter college. Not too many people came and stayed. They usually just came, did classes, studied a little bit, and left. But I had all of that pretty much done, and then it was just we were in between semesters, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go transfer to UHCL. It's probably a good time to do it at this point. And I came in, finalized the transfer, and by the time I was pulling the trigger on making the club, recognition period was very, very close to ending. So I had everything ready to go. I went to the org expo that was happening, and I basically found I wanted to make sure like the club didn't exist already, because I found on the list of clubs Gamers Guild, and at the time I had no idea what Gamers Guild was, that if it was just video games or all that stuff, but it turns out it's all board games, card games, tabletops, D&D. Shameless plug, go check out Gamers Guild. They're a great, sister organization. We love them.
Yes, please do check them out. They are a great organization with lots of people that are willing to play. End of the show.
But I wanted to make sure it didn't exist on campus, and once I found out that that's what it was, I went around the organization expo and got a handful of signatures. I was like, hey, I'm interested in starting this club. Would you be interested in seeing it on campus? And a lot of people were interested, so I had about 15 or so signatures by the end of my time there. So I needed the top 2 officers, though, for the recognition process. Same thing as Sanjak. I didn't know anyone at UHCL. I did, however, have a friend that was currently attending. I'm not sure if he's attending now, but he was back then. That's all that mattered. All I did was I grabbed him and I was like, I need you to be my vice president for a little bit until I find other people who are also interested. His response was pretty much, do I have to do anything? I said, no, I will take care of everything. All right, I'm in.
So Cameron puts the whole club on his back.
I made the whole thing, and then at that point, as I said, I went to Org Expo to find signatures to make the club. So Org Expo had passed. So instead of being left out to dry and basically being just a club that had to put flyers everywhere and just, hey, we exist, I decided to reserve the atrium, the whole atrium, for a single fold-out table to put down and let people know that esports existed. And the greatest thing was that table only had one setup of a GameCube, a handful of controllers, and Super Smash Bros. Melee, and a small CRT.
Yeah, because that's all we had at the time. We didn't have numerous setups like we do now with the TVs that are in our student lounge, or we don't have people bringing their PlayStations and their Xboxes and Switches, because one Switches wasn't a thing back then. Yeah. For one. Yes, we're going way back in the day. Way back in the day.
This club is so old, it was older than Switches.
But that's how I got in, because Melee was my only game at the time that I played at a somewhat competitive level, and I saw Melee. I'm like, ooh, what's this going on here? So I see a single Melee setup in the entire atrium that could easily fit hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And it's just about 5 or 6 of us around one setup playing Melee on a tiny, tiny CRT.
Yeah, I wanted to say we had about 5 or 6 regular people sitting there, like people who were just didn't have classes or anything, so they just like, I want to play video games. So we just sort of rotated off on that one setup. Aside from those 5 or 6, though, I want to say we got quite a few signatures on like, hey, keep us updated on this club. I think a good chunk of our first members came from that table.
Oh yeah, those were some good times, because I think we had, was it 25 signatures or so?
I want to actually say 30 or 40, somewhere around there.
30 to 40 signatures from a single setup of playing Melee. Vintage party game that people vintage party game that people do not understand. It is also a competitive fighter. All right, well, It all started with that.
Yeah, the biggest thing aside from our members, the biggest thing we got from that table is we got our in with the administration as well. So the Dean of Human Sciences, Rick Short, came up to us on that fateful day and was just like, I like what you guys are doing and I want to see it happen. If you guys need an advisor or anything, or just need any help with stuff on campus, please let us know.
Yeah, and it was completely out of the blue as well, because we're just sitting around this tiny CRT, and then he just walks behind us and he's like, hey, what's going on here? It's like, oh, this is an esports club that we're starting this semester.
I'm not gonna lie, he walked up, he's wearing a suit, and he's got like the leather bound book bag that's handheld now. Just like, oh shit, this guy's important probably.
Yeah, and he just looking at us like a bunch of degenerates. It's honestly what I'm thinking.
No good video game players.
No good video game players. It's like, we're no good. We're just playing.
Get a job.
Get a job. But oddly enough, it was the opposite reaction.
Turns out to be one of the coolest guys that we know.
Yeah, and he was actively supporting us as an advisor for the club, and things slowly but surely took off from there.
Yeah, we put him as our advisor, and then eventually he was just like, yeah, it's kind of weird having a dean as advisor. Here, let me give you someone else. He gave us, he suggested to us Ann Henry, who our current advisor is. She's retiring in May.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I met with her the other day. I congratulated her on her. So if you see Ann around, congratulate her, shoot her an email, say, hey, congratulations on the retirement, all that fun stuff. But she is been a very, very kind and good advisor to us.
Yes.
Been nothing but helpful to us all the way, and very supportive of what we've been doing.
Yeah, she's helped us out quite a bit, and because of her and having an advisor, we've been able to run tournaments for different games. Like our first few tournament events were Hearthstone and Super Smash Bros. Melee, believe it or not. Since
and talk about our second event, pretty much our worst failure of all time.
Yes, for sure. We will definitely talk about the lowest point that we've had in our entire club, and it's
thankfully it was at the beginning, and it hasn't happened since. We haven't had a bad point since.
We've gotten close.
Remind me of what that is later. But sort of as we were saying at the beginning of the club, we didn't have many resources. I know you're eyeing that pizza. Pizza just got brought out in the lounge.
For those of you listening to the podcast, we are currently in a study room separated from the rest of the student lounge. And out of nowhere, pizza shows up. 3 boxes full of pizza just magically shows up on that table.
Well, the fighting game player's going to take it.
Yes.
And be upset. Oh, well, I ate already. I'm fine.
Yeah, we're good. Anyway, back to the subject.
Yeah, so back to it. We, bless me. We were very early on in the club, and as we were saying, we didn't have many resources or people to reach out to that, hey, we need setups for this game. We want to run this tournament, all that stuff. So we figured an easy event to run that would probably bring interested people would just be Hearthstone. It was at a pretty okay point at that point. Like, I don't think any of the meta decks were absolutely broken, all that stuff. So we just put up a Hearthstone events where, like, all right, come out and play. If enough people show up, we can host like an impromptu tournament, and we have a gift card or something to give first place if they win, all that stuff. We technically could have run a tournament.
We could have.
It would have been a single match because 2 people showed up to that event.
Yes, one competitive event that we held had literally 2 people. It would have literally been a 1v1 tournament.
It was awesome because, like, I remember the couple hours before, it was me and Denny running around trying to get some stuff together. We went to tech services to see if we could check out a handful of laptops to make sure people had laptops to play on if they didn't either have it on their phone or their own setup. Because I think we had neglected to say, hey, a good idea would be bring your own setup. We don't have stuff for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we did to rectify our mistake, was just go try to check out a handful. I think we got one.
Yeah.
We got one laptop and we went and set it up. And in the end, it didn't even matter because 2 people showed up.
Yeah, it literally made no difference whatsoever. But that had to be our lowest point of our entire club. Was that our first semester as well?
Oh, yeah, that was first semester.
Yeah. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Denny was a member of the UHCL Esports Club for a very long time, and he ended up moving away. Rip Denny.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
No, he didn't die.
He didn't actually die.
He didn't actually die.
Denny didn't die, but Denny died.
Yeah.
if you understand.
You'll understand if you join our Discord. It's a shameless Discord spiel.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
But we learned a lot of lessons from that event. Basically, we learned a little bit more on how to advertise correctly, double check our stuff to where we're not making mistakes on advertising. We also learned to incentivize better. And then we wanted to make things... I think from there, we got really good about prioritizing accessibility to a lot of our events. We wanted to make sure that if people showed up to our events, they had something to do in a way to play whatever game that we were hosting.
Yes, for example, on Tuesdays here at the university, we hold FG City, which FG stands for fighting games. And everybody brings their own setups, and they bring extra controllers, so that way we could remain, inclusive to other people that are curious and wondering, hey, what's going on here? I want to check this out. And, we could be having different games. Like, as of right now, we currently have Marvel vs. Capcom and Smash Ultimate on 2 TVs, and people bring their own setups, and it's really great. So people could just come in and not exactly know what they're doing, but have a good time. Because, let's face it, fighting games are hard. Let's face it.
I roll my face on the controller and I win.
On the Discord, we need to make that a voice command.
What? Just a clip of that, just a face roll, and it's just me. I roll my face on the controller and I win.
Oh, man.
Okay. History. What did we do after? Okay, I think I remember what happened. We ran the Hearthstone event, and then I think towards the end of that semester, because that was a fall semester, I think a Pokemon game released. Because we had a Pokemon release party for
that
it.
was, if I remember correctly, that was Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, or was it Sun and Moon?
I think it was Sun and Moon.
Yeah, it was a Sun and Moon release party that we had.
It was really cool. We had a handful of people show up with the game, and they exchanged friend codes and all that stuff. And then for the people who didn't have the game but just wanted to come hang out, we just ran a bunch of Pokemon anime.
Yeah, it was great because, people who didn't have the game had something to watch in between classes, because most college students had at least a little bit of time between classes. And they were able to watch that, exchange friend codes, and then we could, further establish the more casual side of UHCL Esports, And it was really nice. We had a decent turnout.
Honestly, at that point, with how early on it was, I think we were actually not prioritizing competitive at all. We didn't have any sort of competitive side to it.
Oh, that's true.
It was all just, we want to establish our member base and make sure people are having fun with video games.
Yeah.
So I think we were just trying to do everything as much as possible.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, our first competitive team was it Overwatch?
I think Overwatch formed first. We'll get to that. That's like the next semester. We're still like first semester.
Oh yeah. Oh,
because we ended up having a Smash tournament as well.
Yeah, we had Soaring, which is what we called our very first Smash tournament with one setup, if you remember correctly. We had
one of our own, and we learned from Hearthstone to incentivize, hey, bring your own setups.
Yeah.
Because we did a giveaway for those who brought setups.
Yeah. And
that was an actual, honest to God, successful tournament. We had 10 or 12 people show up to that one.
Yeah, it was great because we had the Melee tournament going on, but we also had people who wanted to play Smash 4.
Someone brought Smash 4 and we hooked it up to the projector.
Yeah, and then, that was, I believe that was the first major event that I came to for this club.
So I actually, hold on. I'm about to say that for the longest time on my personal Twitter, that has been my banner, has been a screenshot of.
Oh yeah, that was
of that event.
Yeah, I even had a couple of my friends come out from Lamar.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. I had a couple of my friends come out from Lamar to join in onto the tournament, and they managed to come in, and they were pretty good. They ended up facing each other in grand finals anyway, and then beat out all the UHCL players. Not to say that we were pretty garbage then, but we're better now. All two of us.
We're slacking a little bit.
We're slacking. So there isn't very. Most teams at this school have their own little groups that they grind, but.
So then from there, I think we can go into the next semester because that's where.
That was at the end of the semester.
I think this is where things started picking up because this is where I think the board members at this point, off the top of my head, I can remember we had Ashley, Gannon was still around. We had Jake, we had Denny, and I think that was it.
Yeah. At that point...
I'm really sorry if I'm forgetting anyone.
Sean?
No, Sean was later.
Yeah.
Because we still hadn't picked up Dean yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that's it then. It was just you, Jake, who was our fighting game lead at the time, / was he also vice president?
No, we had actually all the board members pretty much agreed that like, hey, we didn't like the normal hierarchy of clubs where like they had president, VP, and all that stuff. They really enjoyed it being just president and then like a straight horizontal line under president where everyone is sort of in equal positions.
Management professors, be aware, this strategy worked for a long time.
For a while.
When I say a long time, I mean by like 2 semesters. Yeah. 2 semesters.
It was good early on.
It was good early on.
And then we had our informational meeting, and then from there, I think we picked up Dean. Dean was interested in hosting Overwatch stuff. And then when I was talking to Dean at some point, I believe we were talking about like, hey, we should pick up a league lead as well. And I'm almost 100% certain that it was Dean that was like, I know a guy, his name is Sean, we can talk to him.
Yeah, and that was definitely in the fall semester of 2016.
It was either late fall, early spring.
Because
it wasn't early Overwatch. I think Overwatch had been out for a year at that point.
Yeah, because Overwatch came out May 24th, 2016. So it had to be at least the fall semester, towards the end maybe. So Overwatch officially got its start here at this university towards the end of 2016, early 2017 era. And yes, I'm calling it an era. Don't at me. So that took off from there, and then it went from a group of people just wanting to play Overwatch together, just trying to meet up, new connections, to actually us developing a team.
Yeah. Another thing that we did that we still see today, and is probably like one of the biggest things that we do, is at one point Dean was like, I want to host an Overwatch tournament, but guess what, we don't have setups. What do we do? So we started brainstorming, and I think just like as of right on cue, Microsoft at Baybrook hosted an Overwatch tournament of their own, and we went and attended it, and we hit it off with the who was the current gaming expert, I believe is the title. His name was Daniel.
Yeah.
We became really good friends with Daniel. We hit it off. We gave him a little bit of suggestions of what to do for tournaments, because we'd been doing it for a lot at that point. And from there, we actually met with their management, and we were just like, hey, is there any way that we could just sort of bang out like a cooperative event to where like we throw it out there and advertise to a lot of people and bring the people in, and then we like co-host the event with you guys. You guys can supply the setups and stuff. We bring the people.
Yeah.
And they thought it was a cool idea. They wanted to try it. So they gave us a day, and I think we ended up with a good amount of people that had to have been either a five-team tournament. And that's a pretty cool thing. We still have that cooperative event with Microsoft every month. I think the most we ever had at a Microsoft event was 8 teams of 6.
Yeah. So a 48 man tournament.
We had a lot of people. That was a long tournament.
Yeah, and before that, that was fall 2017, or was that?
It's somewhere in that year. I don't know the years very much. They've just gone by, and I've just been doing stuff.
Yeah.
I see what you have pulled up. Holy shit, that was a fun event too.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, in July 2017, UHCL hosted a Melee tournament, Super Smash Bros. Melee, for those who don't know.
Co-hosted. We co-hosted with a group called Slurred Nerd.
Yes, who does streaming services for different tournaments.
They do streaming, and they do tournaments in general. They're a cool group of dudes. We suggest you check them out. Yeah. We'd like to collaborate with them again in the future.
Yes, so shout out to Slurred Nerd. If you're listening to this, take this as a really, really, really big hint.
We love you.
We love you guys. But yeah, in summer of 2017, we had that tournament. At that point, it was our largest tournament. We had a 34-player double elimination tournament where we had ranked players from Houston show up and help us gain exposure. And the first place finisher, Uncle Mojo, is currently ranked in the top 100, currently ranked number 80 in the world. So there was some great talent at this tournament, and there was a lot of really good people that actually made it up pretty big.
Because if I remember correctly, it was like Mojo showed up. I think Straw Hat was there.
Yeah, Straw Hat.
Best friend John.
Yeah.
I think Jake was there.
Yeah.
Big Jake.
Yeah, I'll break down the
Jake 13.
Jake 13. I'll break down the results. There was number 1, 2, 3 in Houston for sure. Don was a ranked player. Salt was a ranked player. Best friend John, currently ranked. Worth, currently ranked. Sourdough, currently ranked. We had lots of ranked players at this tournament, and it personally, it was our most successful fighting game tournament that we held at that point.
It was such a cool tournament. The venue was something else.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, it was called Advent Garden, I believe.
Yeah, that venue was absolutely something else. It was weird. It was kind of cramped, and it was like a 3 or 4 story sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like a really tall home, like a yellow home, and it was a very interesting venue to say the least.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that really sucked about that day is it started raining.
Oh yes, I recall that definitely, because I remember I had to go run out to my truck in the pouring rain. It was that part was not a fun time. The tournament was a great time, great learning experience from a lot of really good players. But yeah, that was a really good tournament that we held in 2017. So at that point, that was our biggest tournament.
There's probably VODs of that tournament sitting somewhere too.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably look up the VODs. The tournament was called Rumble in the Garden.
Anyways, let's see. So other than that, I know a thing that we can talk about.
Huh.
We did chili cook-off one year for UHCL.
That was a great event.
That was such a weird event. Holy crap.
Oh yeah.
Now I was out of my element that day. Because that was entirely cooking and like selling your food to people.
Yeah.
That was not me. I was just sat at the back of the easy. I'm just kind of like, if you guys need me, I am here to help.
Yeah.
But it was just like, that was not me that day.
Yeah.
We did really well though. We got
second.
We got second in like Chef's Choice or something.
Yeah, second.
So like
Chef's
you had like popular vote, you had best side dish, and then you had like Chef's Choice, which was like, oh wait, no.
Meat and non.
Chef's Choice is like the secondary. It was like Judge's Choice. I think Judge's Choice is what it was.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Which, in my opinion, is way more is better than popular vote.
Yeah.
Definitely not to downplay the other ones, but we got second in Judge's Choice. We won the event, honestly.
Yeah. not to be conceited or anything, but I mean, UHCL Esports took home that.
Not to beat anyone else down, but UHCL Esports is literally the greatest club on campus.
It's shameless shill. For shame, Cameron. Okay, it's okay to shill. This is the UHCL Shill podcast. This is the UHCL Esports Shill podcast. You know what? That's what we're gonna call it.
No, I refuse.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was sort of a cool day. There was prep towards it. I forget what had happened, but I had to show up a little bit late because it was like you had to be at your tent at really early, and I was just like, oh god.
Yes.
Everything's terrible today.
Yeah, but we did do pretty well, and for UHCL Esports, just a bunch of people who all they know how to do is play video games, quote unquote, we did pretty well, you know?
I mean, granted, we had Dean, and Dean is just, I don't know if it's professional, but he's on a cook team. He's actually at Livestock in Rodeo at Houston.
Yeah, the Houston Livestock Show.
With his cook team.
Yeah. So, we're not going to admit it, but he might have carried the team. He might have.
His buddy gave us the recipe.
I mean, once you get the recipe, it's kind of hard to just mess it up, you know? I mean, it was like, all right.
Does that say 2 tablespoons? 2 teaspoons? 2 cups.
I mean, you're literally giving. It's like in GTA whenever you're writing down the cheat codes on that piece of paper back in the day. And for those of you that are still youngins, youngins, y'all don't know the struggle. All right,
You're too young to remember cheat codes.
Back in the day, we had to write all of our cheat codes on a piece of paper because we didn't have no smartphones to write everything down. But it's literally giving you the cheat code. It's like, all right, this is how you do it, and you still mess up. That's what it's like messing up a recipe.
How did you mess up this recipe? I don't know. How do we fix it? 2 cups of vodka.
2 cups of vodka.
2 cups of vodka. How's that gonna work? Well, they'll keep coming back for more.
Oh, 2 cups of vodka. It's not for the chili. It's for yourself to get over it.
1 for the chili, 1 for me.
Oh man, that's great. That was an interesting event to say the least.
What other events can we think of?
Well,
because we had multiple Smash events. I think our biggest Smash event was
40?
Like, aside from Rumble in the Garden, it had to have been 20-something. In the 20s.
Yeah.
I want to say around 18 to 24 was, like, the magic number.
18 to 24 was our consistent locals for tournaments, for fighting games. Because aside from that, we haven't had too many fighting game tournaments. I believe we had Street Fighter at one point.
Yeah, Jake hosted one, and then Kelvin is trying to brew up some tournaments. It's either he wants to do tournaments or he wanted to implement sort of a ladder for the FG cities that we have here on campus.
Yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the term ladder, that's basically like a ranking system to determine who would be the best at a particular game on campus. So it's much like a PR system that you would for your local town. So it's very similar to that.
Unless I'm really bad, I can't think of any other like really notable past event. Wait, I do remember. We got invited out to
Galveston
for GameCon.
Yeah, and that ended up being really well because we had multiple members of the UHCL esports team make it into top 8 of.
There was a Smash event there.
Yeah, we had a Smash event there, and we had Jake compete. We had
I think all of us showed up because it was like Denny, Sean, me, and Jake all entered. I don't think I did as well as everyone else, but like I think Jake and Sean made it pretty far.
Yeah, I remember Jake placed 2nd place in the tournament, if I remember correctly. So he did pretty well.
I have to look up and post the results
in
the description. But aside from tournament stuff that we entered, because there was also, they had a giant Overwatch tournament.
Yeah.
And it was a 1v1 tournament. It wasn't put them in teams. It's probably not going to be on there because it was a separate thing from us. Mm-hmm. We didn't host it. But it was a 1v1 tournament. Me, I think Sean and Dean entered it. I don't remember how Sean did, or if he entered at all. I could be completely wrong on that.
Right.
But there were like 2 days of it. They had one tournament one day and then another tournament the second day. Dean won the first day, and I was so upset because I ended up in semis and they only awarded first and second place. And I ended up in Dean's bracket for semis.
Oh, yes.
So Dean just, like, he messed with me and then crushed me, and I was just like, if I had been on the other side of the bracket, I could have made second. I'm so upset.
It was a team kill. It was a team UHCL kill.
Yeah. Screw Dean, whatever.
Yeah. Dean's a great guy.
Dean's
just
a good guy. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
We love Dean.
We love him. He's a great guy. Did a lot for this organization. But sometimes screw Dean.
Aside from all of what we did tournament-wise for that thing, we were called up to table. Like, they offered us a spot to table, and we remember looking at the prices later on for the tables, and they ended up like compensating us a good, like, I want to say 600 to 800 table. Like, our spot cost about around that, and it was pretty cool. We took that chance to try and raise funds for the club. We all got together and messed with those perler things.
Oh, yeah.
And we made a bunch of those, and we were trying to sell those. We broke even on them. There's a lot of them still left over. I know where they are. I just have to go get them if we wanted to sell those again.
Yeah.
And we used it as an opportunity to advertise for the club because we were in Galveston. We knew probably no one from around our area was going to be there. So it was all just new faces, new people to advertise to. So we advertised the fact that, hey, we're a club at UHCL. And then we also went and talked to UHCL admissions and like, hey, we're going out of town. Got quote unquote, even if it was to Galveston.
Yeah.
We were going out of town and we're advertising the club's existence. Can we have some stuff to give away? And they were like, yeah, totally fine. We can hand you a couple of things that we would love for you to advertise the school. Because, you know, it's like a win-win for them. It's just like, here, take a bunch of free stuff to give out, and we literally get free advertising. What do we care?
Yeah, and we almost got a really good hookup, but that was quite tragic.
We won't go into details about that yet.
We'll just say
we'll decide if we want to talk about that eventually.
Yeah.
But it was really cool because some of the experiences we had at that convention, because like if I remember correctly, we had a woman with her handicapped son walked up. And I forget what his condition was, but it was something like loud noises and something else about his hands. But they came up and we had a melee set up, and Denny sat down with them and played a couple matches with them. He was having a blast. Mm-hmm. That was really fun to hear about. We also had a handful of people who had kids coming up. They were like freshmen or possibly like
younger,
8th grade, around there, and they were just completely blown away by the fact that clubs like this exist in colleges, where it's like alongside your studies you can have a healthy relationship with like video games and stuff.
Yeah,
we got to talk to them about how like, hey, Here's actually like the average GPA of all of our board members who are here right now. It's very good. We're very good about like, okay, we enjoy video games. However, you need to focus on your school and your studies first.
Yes. And we're saying this for kids not to just spend all their time playing video games. School comes first, obviously, because I mean, duh. I don't know how to make it any clearer than that. But I mean, it's. I find it really great that we are impacting younger people, younger generations of students who are constantly put up with pressures like, do I have to choose one or the other, and do I have to sacrifice this thing to get to this one? But no, there's a balance that you can play video games for enjoyment, and you can do well in school at the same time. Just like how Cameron pointed out with the rest of the board members with our very, very high GPA. So it's very possible if you work hard and you stick to school. All right.
It's just really good to practice having a healthy balance. That's what we're about.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Having a healthy balance between pleasure and work.
Aside from that convention was pretty okay.
Yeah. Let's see. What about league? We
had a league team for a couple semesters. Sean had gotten it to the point that they were scrimming, and I believe they had gone positive in their scrims and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Sean was talking about recent tryouts, not for like this semester and stuff, because he says he's still planning on trying to do that this semester for league.
Yes.
But like the semester before, or possibly, the semester before would be fall. He was talking about how he did the tryout, and he had pretty much every single one of them was like a mid lane main.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find a single one that would just be like, yo, hey, could you possibly
switch?
Go down to bot lane and try that? No, I'm mid lane. He's like, okay.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about before. You need to have balance, not only in your life, but in your team composition as well. You know?
You can't have a team full of mid laners.
you can't. If you do, you won't succeed. It's that simple. So please.
Strat won't work. Everyone's mid lane. Why is everyone mid lane?
I'm already Genji.
Bot lane is free. What do you do?
So, yeah, it's everybody picking the same character. It's.
Ooh. You know what else I forgot about?
What did we forget about?
24-hour live stream.
Ooh, our legendary stream.
Oh, disgusting.
You heard it here, folks. Disgusting.
If you ever think a 24-hour live stream is a good idea, please think about it, or have 20 people to run shifts.
Yes, please have people running shifts, because if I remember correctly, it was you, Jake, Ashley, Gannon.
It was everyone, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had Laura or Tia at that point, or Brandon, our Rocket League lead.
No.
But we didn't have Chloe at that point because we still had Dean.
Yeah.
But
in other words,
it was just like we had. If I can name the people that were there: Sean, Dean, Jake, me, Denny, Ashley, Gannon. Those were the 8 people, I think, that were there.
Yeah, so 8 people for a 24-hour stream. You can do the math. You realize how much it is per person.
We should have done it better to where we did have it to where it was shifts like that, to where it's like, okay, each person has a little shift that they can cover. No, of course not. Of course we didn't do that. We did it to where just like a lot of us were involved at all times. We did a bunch of league games where like I think I played Annie, and we lost a lot because I'm bad at the game.
Yeah.
I think Dean was yelling at me a lot. Sean's just
disappointed.
I couldn't even hear him, but I knew his head was in his hands most of the time because of me. And then we played Jackbox a lot. I remember a section where I was playing Portal. I think I remember playing through the entirety of Portal, looking at stream and just realizing, oh shit, game capture hasn't been on, so it's just been me sitting there on the camera for an hour.
Top 10 Twitch stream fails. But yeah, that was very interesting.
There was that. We had the dire hours, as I like to refer them to, where basically everyone zonked out and Denny took over with his just
massive big brain at rhythm games.
He rhythm gamed from like the 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. block or something, 3 a.m.
What a legend.
God rest his soul.
Rip Denny.
Rip Denny. God rest his soul.
Oh, but yeah, he was playing games like Osu, and games of that nature. So he's up at 3 a.m. playing rhythm games that demand the utmost attention.
I'm not gonna lie. I think when Denny was doing that, he had the highest viewership or the highest amount of viewers that we had for that 24-hour.
Yeah. So, oddly enough, we must have been catching people that have not either been able to sleep, for one, or two, people from other sides of the world. So, who knows?
The Swedes.
The Swedes.
The
Swedes probably just mocking Denny as like, you couldn't get 100%.
I don't know. I've done like 24-hour streams where like a bunch of Swedes will raid and then they're just like they're actively interested in what's going on.
Really? I guess I need to start streaming then.
And strictly in the hours of 3 in the morning.
just a early morning streams like. Just everybody speaking Swedish in the chat. I'm like, what is going on here?
But yeah, I remember everyone going into the 24-hour stream with just energy and they were ready and so psyched about it. And then it hit like, I think our cutoff was 10 o'clock or 8, one of those two. It hit that cutoff. We seemed cheerful. It was just like, all right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the donations that we got. Goodbye, everyone. Cut off stream. No one talked. Everyone just silently broke down their stuff and left.
That's it.
That was it. We were done. Everyone went home to go to sleep.
Yeah, and that is the longest stream that we've ever had in the history of UHCL esports.
Honestly, probably the only stream that
yes.
we've had.
We could edit that last sentence out. We don't need them to know that. We don't need them to know that.
We're getting better about it though, because
we do have
Sean streams a lot on his own channel. I've told him, hey, just whenever you're streaming on your channel, make sure to sign on to UHCL esports first and host it through there.
Yeah.
Also, I can't stream because my internet's bad. To where like if I tried to play like a multiplayer game or something, I'm just gonna lag all over the place and it won't be fun for anyone at all, including me. I will probably have a heart attack. But the idea got tossed around of just doing Legos.
Just doing Legos.
Yeah, because like we were at Barnes & Noble. I picked up like a micro Lego set to make Pokemon out of.
Lego.
And it took me about an hour 30 to put it together. And I was just like, you know what? If you have maybe like a slight microphone for me vocal, but you also have like lo-fi hip-hop playing in the background, and you have good camera work to where it's like you have a camera overhead and then you have your hand cam. You have your hand cam where it's doing the Legos. And then I had the idea of you'll have a camera down here below the desk pointed towards like your legs and stuff. I call that the drop cam, where like if you drop the Lego piece, you see it go down there. Motherfucker, where's that piece?
And then the stream chat will tell you, it's like, hey man, it's behind your left foot. He's like, oh, thanks, dude.
And then there were tons of points where like the directions were kind of unclear, so I'd put a piece in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to like take it apart. And I could sort of see Twitch chat having fun with that, sort of like how when they announced the creative section and they had the Bob Ross marathons to where like he would paint a part and it'd make the painting look terrible, but then he'd add something later on and it made it look beautiful, and chat's just going insane, going like, it's saved.
Yes.
It's sort of that same thing to where it's just like, oh, I put a piece in the wrong spot here, let me fix that.
And you just gotta have a soothing voice as you speak.
And it wouldn't have to be completely like unrelated stuff, because like, oh, why would you do Legos if this is an esports channel? It's like you can always pick up Lego sets of just video game related things.
Yeah, in a way it is related. So yeah, that would be a good idea.
You see, just why you build Legos and it's not a video game? So well, I'll pick up a Minecraft set, whatever.
Just pick up a Minecraft.
Literally Lego the video game,
and just talk real quietly into the mic.
ASMR Lego. Just I dropped a piece. Fuck.
I'm gonna go get it if I get really quiet.
And just are silently getting more and more pissed off with the Lego set. Just fuck.
I dropped like 7 pieces just now.
Where the fuck is this piece? Did someone come in and take this piece?
That would be a legendary stream. Yeah, going legendary.
The fucking title of the stream is called like
UHCL
8-hour ASMR Lego assembly, calming, soothing, and the guy's just cursing under his breath over and over again.
That would be a great video, man. Not only on Twitch, but also on YouTube. We can get some attention like that.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Oh, yeah. For sure, dude.
Okay.
Back to history.
I was about to say, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, anything
more. We covered on like a lot of the things that we considered big, at least among the board members.
Yeah, the weekly Overwatch, or was it the monthly Overwatch?
Monthly Overwatch, those are still going.
Yeah, those have been going for quite a while now. We started doing these monthly tournaments, I believe it was November 2017? Because we did it November 2017, we didn't do it December. We did it January, and we did it February. And then after...
I think we skipped December because we were like, nah, don't have one, because it's just like no one's going to show up for the holidays.
Yeah, it is the holidays. That's true. But once it got to May 2018, we were able to do it fairly consistently. May, June, we didn't do it July. We did it August, but then we took another break and we didn't do it till November. So November, December, January, it looks like we're up to date. And speaking of which, we do have a Overwatch tournament at Baybrook Mall coming up pretty soon, actually.
I believe it's the 23rd. It should be not next Saturday, but the Saturday after.
Yeah, it's going to be Saturday, February 23rd at 12 p.m. At Baybrook Mall. For those of you that don't know, it's in Friendswood. It's in the southeast side of Houston. So if any of y'all want to go check that out, please go check that out. All right, and that is our recent event, or the last of our recent events, and that is currently our nearest upcoming event. So that was the history of UHCL esports in a nutshell.
Yeah, good times.
Good times, some not so good times.
Good times. Some of the board members I miss pretty dearly. I miss hanging out with Denny. The countless days that we played Melee together.
Oh,
and the Messiah down me as a movement option.
Yes. Whenever we were teaching Denny how to wave dash in Melee, he said, "Well, I don't need to, because Luigi's down B is the spinning tornado move, and I could just move across the stage like that." So I addressed him, I'm like, "Denny, are you saying that Luigi down B is a viable, legitimate movement option?"
Denny would, when it first came to trying to teach Denny tech stuff in Melee, we told him, hey, if you want a character to pick to learn wave dashing and see if like you do it correctly all the time, Luigi would be a good pick.
Yeah, Luigi is a good pick. For those of you that don't know, Luigi has the longest wave dash in the game, which is in Melee, it's a fast sliding motion that you do across the stage. And Luigi has the longest ones due to his low traction. So it makes it the easiest to tell if you did one correctly.
But essentially where the down B as a movement option came from, Denny at one point just started throwing it out there all the time when he would get pressured and stuff, because I think we were regularly picking like Marth and stuff against him. And it was just like his reasoning was like, if I press down B and move across the stage, I can get to where I want to safely, because are they going to approach me? No, because if they approach me, they're just going to get hit, and then I get to combo out of it. Because, like, what are they going to do?
Poor Denny. Poor Denny.
Rest his soul. God rest his soul.
Rip Denny. Oh, rip Denny. So that's pretty much it for our history and current events that are going on right now. Do you have anything to add?
We do have a general meeting the 22nd.
Oh yeah, we do have a general meeting. And the 22nd, is that a Friday?
That's the Friday before the Saturday Overwatch tournament.
Right, so yeah, Friday the 22nd.
But essentially what we do for these is we have a classroom, I believe it is Student Services Building 2306. It's like a corner classroom. I bring my tower up here and we'll hook it up to a projector, and we play a bunch of party games off of it to make sure everyone gets involved. And if that isn't your sort of thing, we encourage people to bring their own setups and stuff, laptops. And if they have games that they want other people to try, they're more than welcome to let other people try it and all that fun stuff. We at one of the journal meetings, we actually had a thing of batteries, and we had a bunch of plug and plays in our container. So I popped some batteries in to try those out because they've been sitting in there for a while.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, one was like a mystery machine one for like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
We couldn't get that one to work, which is disappointing. I was really excited for that one to work.
We couldn't discover the origins of Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
And the other one was a Fantastic Four plug and play.
Yeah.
And that was a really confusing one. I think one of the soundtracks everyone liked, so I went and found it.
Yeah.
And then the last one we got the most fun out of because it's like the head-to-head plug and play.
Oh yeah, I recall.
And it was just a selection of sports stuff. You had soccer, baseball, all that stuff.
Real sporty sports.
Yeah, but the most popular game we had the most fun with, it was like Kung Fu Flycatcher or something. And it was just a simple reaction game. You had two hands on screen, one, and both had a pair of chopsticks. And as soon as the fly shows up on screen, you press a button. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Flycatcher. But a fly shows up on screen, and you have to be the fastest to press the button to catch the fly. And it shows you your reaction time as well. It's really fun. We had the most fun with that. I think we were playing it for like 20 minutes. But that's sort of what we do at our general meetings. Is there's not really any information doled out unless like big things are coming up and we want to inform people. But it's just a lot of us sitting around playing video games, fighting games, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and the general meetings are very casual. People just bring their own games, and then if we find a lot of traction for a game that people want to play, then we'll find a way to implement it into the club.
Ooh, probably advertise. Hey, that general meeting starts at 6.
Yes, it starts at 6 o'clock, room 2306 in the Student Services Building. So feel free to stop by, bring a game if you would like. The more the merrier. And I hope to see you there. Actually, that would be really good. And the more people, the better. So,
all right, we can have a little bit of video game talk if you want.
Yeah, we can.
Before we wrap this up, we can, because I do want to kind of speculate on this Nintendo Direct before it happens.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, there is a Nintendo Direct that is set to happen February 13th, which is the day after the recording of this video. So we would like to discuss, at least for a little while, about the possible DLC characters that could be announced.
Yeah, we can talk about what happens on the Direct. I already know what's not going to happen.
You wanna do you wanna let the viewers know or the listeners know?
Yeah, you know what's not gonna happen? They're not gonna give us a date for Animal Crossing. That's what's gonna happen.
You heard it here, folks. The Nintendo Direct is not gonna give us a date for Animal Crossing.
I'm so excited to just make memes of how sad I am. That's when I'm most creative.
Yeah.
That's my trick cap. I'm always sad.
Yeah, and as for the Nintendo Direct, I kind of figured since Fire Emblem has been a massive push from Nintendo the last few years, they're definitely going to talk about Three Houses. Sure.
I was about to say, did you not see the description right there?
Well, yeah, I did. But I'm not sure that the viewers can see what I'm looking at, or the listeners can see what I'm looking at here. Shut up. They can't hear what I'm looking at.
You're not trying hard enough.
You're not trying hard enough. You listen harder and you can see it. You can see it. But there has been some interest to that, but everybody knows most of all it's going to be talking about Ultimate. Everybody knows it's Nintendo's baby as of this point, right? And everybody's thrown in a name in the hat, saying he's like, hey, who's going to be the next DLC character? So there are going to be a total of 5 DLC characters, if I remember correctly. We already have Piranha Plant. Joker has been announced, and we are likely to see some gameplay of Joker during this Nintendo Direct, because we did not see it during his reveal. So, any thoughts on how do you think he's going to play? If you have any experience with the Persona games, if not, then it's
going to have a gun.
Okay, a gun.
That's all I know. I was going to play through Persona 5 at some point, but it's if I had to give sort of a synopsis of what I think he'll be like, just think of any of the stand users in a lot of the JoJo's games where they aren't really doing much themselves. It's a lot of just the entity behind them doing stuff for them.
I see. That would be an interesting gameplay design, because we currently don't have a character that is similar to that Pokemon trainer.
Well, like there's that, and one of Zelda's moves summons the Dark Nut.
Oh yeah, the Dark Nut is Zelda's stand, by the way, for those of y'all that don't know.
That is a possibility of what it could look like.
Yeah. So it would be a very, very interesting gameplay design if Nintendo does decide to go that route. Now, as for possible DLC characters, people have mentioned characters like Geno from Super Mario RPG, Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and a few other titles. It is possible with Sora, because even though Sora is in Disney games, he is not entirely a Disney character. He's actually just belongs to Square Enix, which is already a part of Super Smash Bros. With Cloud, because Final Fantasy is Square Enix as well. So if they could find a way to implement Sora in there without having him use any of the Disney characters, perhaps it would just be him and Riku possibly as a possible Echo Fighter, which would be interesting. That would be a possible route that it can go. But I'm assuming that most of the characters are going to be third party, because
I was about to say that. So like a lot of people root for some reason the classic Nintendo characters, like you said, Geno from Super Mario RPG, or Skull Kid from Majora's Mask and all of that.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really cool to see a representation of some of the indie games or the third-party games that are coming to Nintendo.
Yeah, and we do have some representation of that. For example, with like a Shovel Knight being an assist trophy and whatnot. So, I mean, if Nintendo acknowledges that, like, not only do they acknowledge, they push for it. Like, they have indie titles galore for, that's basically half of their Switch catalog, indie titles. And a lot of them have done really well, like Octopath Traveler and Stardew Valley and stuff like that.
You know what? Has there been any consideration for any of the ARMS characters?
It would be interesting, because ARMS is not an assist trophy currently, you don't see ARMS music or anything. So, a possible DLC that they could release the character with the music and the stages, and it would be a unique character design that isn't currently present in the game. So, ARMS as a possible DLC would be true. It would be true that it would work, but
Plausible.
it's plausible. Thank you, but I'm not sure because ARMS' sales have been fairly disappointing. At least compared to how big they pushed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, if I currently look at the sales numbers that I'm pulling up right now, ARMS has, while it does have good reviews, ARMS has sold 1.18 million copies. Or no, that was in 2 weeks. Never mind. That's an outdated
article.
That's an outdated article. I apologize, folks. Okay, here we go. So Mario Kart 8 has sold 15 million. Odyssey 13, 13.7. Ultimate sold 12 million in the short time that it's been out, beating out Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Let's Go, Splatoon 2. ARMS isn't even in the top 10.
Nice.
It's not even in the top 10 of sold games.
Was ARMS a console? I know it was a console launch title, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was a console launch.
So, I don't know. I was about to say, isn't it included in a lot of bundles? Probably then.
I haven't. Considering that, even if it was included in a bundle, the fact that it was combined with a Nintendo Switch did not pick up sales enough to even crack the top 10. It didn't even get 2.5 million sales. So I don't think Nintendo is going to want to back up a game that has received hardly any support from its own fan base.
Yeah, they were doing some weird stuff with ARMS because it was like they were trying to push it at first, and they were honestly to me at least, it seemed like they were trying to push for some sort of a competitive scene, but then that just fizzled out, and we never saw anything from it again.
Yeah, because I remember they had an invitational near a couple weeks after its release date, and it tried to host a tournament, and it seemed like the representation of the game was very limited as well, because the concept is that you're supposed to use the Joy-Cons, and it's supposed to be a motion-controlled game, right? That's the intention, but most people that were at this invitational were not using the motion controls. They were using, handheld controllers, and that's kind of off-putting for Nintendo, because they realize, hey, we release this game to have motion controls and for you to be interactive and be more involved with the game, and then you're just still sitting there with controls. Shows that there's obviously a gap between Nintendo and the fan base that actually played ARMS. And there's a lot of streamers that I knew, I won't mention any, that just did not like the game and immediately returned it after they played it on stream for a few times. That's it. So I don't think ARMS Springman is going to appear on Smash. If he does, I'll be very surprised. But it would be a welcome surprise, because it would be a unique character design that is not currently present in the game. So I'm all for that. Let's see, what other thoughts do we have on possible DLC? Minecraft Steve? Let's go. Let's go, Minecraft. But it makes sense, because for the most part, a lot of people who have Nintendo consoles, have the Nintendo Switch, also tend to either have or be a younger child, right? Because I know lots of my cousins that are under the age of 10 are just carrying their Switches everywhere. Before it used to be tablets, and now it's just Switches. And they're all either playing Minecraft or they're playing Pokemon. So it would be an interesting idea that it's like, hey, Minecraft Steve is in this game. It's possible. It's on the Switch platform. I don't see why not. I see why not. I see why not. Because that's stupid. Because that's stupid, and it's a terrible idea.
My thoughts went to if they put him in game, what would his animations be like?
His animations
would they try to make him animated like a actual running cycle, or would they stick to the running cycle they have for Minecraft?
Yeah, where it's just the fast walk.
Where it's just your arms are swinging stiff, your legs are swinging stiff, or would they?
Yeah.
Or would they try to do it sort of how like wow, what's that company that just went under? That did a lot of the Tales games.
The Tales games? Or are you talking about? It's not Retro, because Retro is super.
Wow, I'm blanking on this. This is embarrassing.
We can edit that.
No, I want to find this out. Wow, this is gonna be embarrassing when we find out. No, not those.
You said Tales, and that was my first
Yeah,
one.
so like, it'd be like Tales from the.
Oh, the Telltale games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Telltale. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they had the Minecraft one that they did. And
Yeah.
they had the unique animations for that. Would it be sort of like that, or would they stick true to the
game.
Minecraft animation?
Well, honestly, as much as I'd hate to admit it, I think they would stick to the Minecraft animation.
It'd be really funny.
Because, I mean, the concept of each character is to stay true to their game. Like, for example, I think all the Pokemon characters in Smash Ultimate do a good job of displaying their moves. Like, for example, Mewtwo, Shadow Ball, Psychic, and whatnot. That works. Pikachu's Quick Attack, Thunder Jolt, Thunder, Skull Bash. All of these moves are actually based off of the game, right? And then you have, characters such as the Samus and Dark Samus, where their moves are actual items that you get in-game. So I'm going to assume that if, for whatever reason, Minecraft Steve happens to mine his way into Smash Ultimate. Yes, I know, that was terrible. Go ahead, laugh.
That's totally the line they use for it, though. Minecraft Steve gets crafty.
Gets crafty in Ultimate. Yes. And then his specials would be the different items that you can use in the game, for example.
Dude, Minecraft Steve, totally a sword character, has a diamond sword.
Yes, he has a diamond sword. He has for his different skins, he has different armor.
I was just gonna say
there's a creeper ult.
No, his moves give him super armor, and it's just him equipping a set of diamond armor for a couple seconds.
No. That would his final smash would definitely be summoning the Ender Dragon. Summon the Ender Dragon and then blow everybody to bits. And then his death cry, his death whenever he falls off to the blast zone is the. You know what it is. Ooh. Oh, but that would be as much as I hate seeing it in the game.
His smash ball is
the Ender Dragon.
No, it's making everyone dig down straight into lava.
Every character on the ground dies. The only way to avoid it is if you're in the air. Yes, that way it's not too broken.
Echo Fighter Roblox kid.
Echo Fighter Roblox. Let's go, guys. Let's go. It originated from a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not impossible. Oh man. So yeah, we already have Linksworth's enemy and Bayonetta's son as DLC characters. So we have 3 more to go. One of them probably is going to be Minecraft Steve. Honestly, it's going to be there's going to be a game from a Nintendo upcoming title. Because what better way to promote a character than putting it in Smash for a new game? For example, that's what Super Smash Bros. Melee did with Roy. Roy did not exist before Smash Melee whatsoever. And then people were like, who the heck is this guy? And people to this day are still like, who the heck is this guy? And then they say Fire Emblem, and it's like, oh, I've heard of that. You know?
I mean, yeah, Melee was
Melee's the best game.
my introduction to all. I guess now that I'm thinking through the cast, the Fire Emblem stuff was the only ones that I was introduced to through Melee because we unlocked them, both Roy and Marth, and we were just like,
Who are these guys?
who are these two? One's a guy, one's a girl, or we're not sure.
to this day, the question is still
Is
lingers.
Marth a girl?
Is Martha a girl? So we do have some like upcoming titles. So it would be some interesting ideas. I see Steins Gate, but it had to originate from a game, I guess.
Boy.
Mortal Kombat. Seeing Scorpion just destroy Mario and just get over here. That would be a good side special. But we could see. I mean, it's not impossible.
I was gonna say, man, that'd be a cheap side special, but then it's like, Isabelle exists.
Isabelle exists. It's like the fishing hook. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes is making a appearance.
Travis might be a good one.
Travis from No More Heroes would be an interesting choice for the.
What about Raiden from Metal Gear?
Raiden from Metal Gear.
Oh wait, isn't he already a SS trophy?
I believe so. Yeah, so they can't take. I highly doubt.
Revolver Ocelot.
Yeah, I highly doubt they're going to take somebody out from
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. Sneak. But adding somebody else from that franchise. Let's see. Super Meat Boy Forever. Okay.
I wouldn't see Super Meat Boy.
Not enough traction. Fire Emblem. I wouldn't doubt it if we saw the main protagonist of Three Houses.
Knuckles.
Kunkles. It's pronounced Kunkles.
No, Knuckles.
Knuckles. Yes, I would like Knuckles. I would like Tails. I would like to see Tails as a possible character. Because this entire time, since Brawl, we've only had one character from the Sonic universe. So, let's see. Crash Team Racing.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. It's not impossible.
Get off the screen.
I'm pretty sure y'all can assume what was on my screen.
I saw it. It was just to be announced 2019. Never gonna happen.
Let's see. Dragon Quest, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Sayonara Wild Hearts. I don't think so. Town. I don't think so. But it is Game Freak, so it does have.
What about another Pokemon?
Pokemon Untitled Core RPG. It's untitled. So another Pokemon as a DLC. We'll see what happens. Cause
Who would it be?
I don't know. Cause
We just got Senroar.
yeah, we just got Tony the Tiger as a character. we got Tony the Tiger as a character, guys. Live it up, because it's never gonna happen again. Happens again. But I feel like that's
Blaziken. What?
just leaves right then and there. But yeah.
Hold on, we can get our first interaction. Hold on.
Now, idea for a DLC character for Smash.
We are currently pulling the people of
Sora? Where you said Sora? What next?
Tofu from Resident Evil 2.
Who?
Tofu.
We have just received word from one of the members of the UHCL ESports club about a possible DLC character.
Tofu from Resident Evil 2.
Now, anybody
Have you seen the speedrun though?
have I seen this?
Have you seen the Tofu speedrun?
Yeah, but It'll be an interesting release at the Nintendo Direct. Do you think? I feel like that would be good for the podcast for today.
After all this Nintendo Direct discussion, I'm so hyped to just be completely wrong. There's no ultimate. There's no ultimate whatsoever. It's all talk about upcoming titles. But the one thing I will refuse to be wrong on is them not talking about Animal Crossing.
First thing that they mentioned. So I feel like that's pretty good for the podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, that's your laptop just died.
Yeah, my laptop just died, so there's that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good, decent length.
Yeah. So if any of y'all have questions about possible topics that you want to discuss, please hit us up on the Discord or comment in the comment box below.
Mm-hmm. We will have a link to our Discord, and in our Discord we have a specific channel called Podcast Discussions. If you have actual things you would like to discuss, things that we talked about today in this podcast, things you would like to see discussed in future podcasts, or possibly feedback on our podcast that we release, we're open to criticism. If you guys should shut down the podcast and never do it again. Okay, we are on that.
Yes, we are suckers to our viewers and our listeners. So, all right. I've been Leo.
I'm Cameron. It's been nice talking to you guys.
All right. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day.